Funny how, for all you've done to your bodies, it's still real to me, damn it. I mean,
I will always laugh.
Owns him.
Jeremy, gotta let Jeremy get his laugh in before we get started.
I love it.
Still real to me. I'm your host, Howie Chaney, with the man right here, Mr. Jeremy Johnson, NWO. This man, the podfather of
Podfather, I like
podfather
Easy.
of everything.
Easy.
QB1, Randy Cunningham. Guys, it's a special Monday night edition since we missed last week, excuse me. Special Monday night edition. Nothing in particular.
I was where I was supposed to be. Were you where you were supposed to be, Howie?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Should we ask the other gentleman? Was he where he's supposed to be?
I don't know. You go ahead and I don't even think. I think he had on a LSU gear and a Bayou Bengals going
No.
Are you telling me that he had a LSU jersey on with I Love the Young Bucks hat on?
No.
Better than that. I heart Kenny Omega.
I would be closer to that than I would be anything related to Young Bucks. I'll just tell you. And where I was from, I actually needed a Raging Cajun jersey. I was just a short walk, I think, to the stadium there in Louisiana Lafayette, and the Cajun Dome, home of many a wrestling show.
Hey, that's Phil Robinson territory right there, ain't it?
No, that's Monroe. I've been there too.
Oh, okay.
I've actually went into Duck Dynasty back in the day. I went into the facility. They had a store in there, and I went and looked around a little bit. Didn't see any bearded men though. So
you go into stores looking for bearded men often.
No, that actually didn't come out the way I wanted it to, but there was no Robertsons with beards there to get a picture of, so I'll just put it that way.
That up.
Yeah, let me clarify.
Well, let's get started. We're here on this special Monday night edition of It's Still Real to Me. No particular format tonight. We're just going to be talking about recent stuff because it's been a huge last couple of weeks of news that's taken place. So we're going to kick it off tonight with the most recent news that I heard was the McMahons. The McMahons. This is their last Monday Night Raw of being in control. What's y'all's thoughts on it? Jeremy, go ahead.
I don't think anything from the what we see. I don't think it's going to change that much. However, and others have said this too. They're merging the companies, of course, with UFC, and there's going to be some overlap there. Most likely, there'll be some cost-cutting measures and some efficiencies made where, any duplicates, i.e., accounts payable or accounts receivable, they have that in both companies. There may be some consolidation. So, unfortunately, for some of those folks that work hard behind the scenes to make those things happen, which they always, they're not front and center, may have some of those folks that might be looking for a new career opportunity. But I don't anticipate there being much. I mean, look, WWE's on fire. I mean, if you're Endeavor and the powers that be, of course, Vince is still going to have a large say in that. If you're smart, you don't touch that. You let the creative and you let the things that the wrestling do its thing. You just work on that behind the scenes structure, support structure, and try to, streamline that a little bit between that and UFC. So, unfortunately for some folks, they'll probably be looking for a job soon. But I don't think it's going to affect anything creatively, at least initially.
Right. Randy, your thoughts on it?
As long as one of those people looking for a job is named Vincent Kidney McMahon, I'm all for it because just exactly how Jeremy feels about the Young Bucks is how I feel about Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He has crapped all over the business I love for 40 years.
Yeah.
I would be glad to see him go. But fortunately, I don't think he will.
No.
I don't think he even likes the word pro wrestling. I don't think he uses the word pro wrestling. You know what? And his product can be on fire, but I'm not going to support it. Even as good as it was with WrestleMania with the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens story, I find individuals in the WWE I can be behind, like
Yeah.
LA Knight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be the product's going to be that different. What I worry about now, guys, follow me. I worry about the legitimacy of UFC getting questioned by being in partnership with the WWE. That's what I worry
Hmm.
about. Anything. When's the first time somebody questions the WWE? Did UFC stage a fight? I've already heard those past.
Yeah, we're seeing. I don't know if you guys have seen, and I don't follow UFC that much, but I've saw some videos from like over the past couple of weekends of some pretty how would I put it, uh over the top commentary from
Yeah,
fighters. And I think they've taken a page out of the WWE. A lot of that is, not truly how they feel. They realize they've got to be more than just fighters. They got to create some controversy and a reason for people to watch. So I agree. There's going to be a lot of that. The question, and also one of the things that I like, what kind of opportunities are there going to be for people to cross over even more than what we've seen?
yeah. I
Uh,
worry about it. I know I'm off camera, but I can hear you. I worry about that WWE just becomes the second paycheck for UFC fighters.
but with that being said, the UFC fighters that got it, Conor McGregor and things of that nature, they realize there's more to just being a good fighter. Back to what I said, I don't think UFC has any legit superstars right now. They don't have a Conor McGregor. I know they've got a few fighters that are really good. So I don't think they necessarily have anybody that could come over and just make a splash in WWE. To be honest with you.
All right, we'll move on to our next subject real quick, and without getting too graphic or details or anything like that, Matt Riddle's missing from Raw tonight. It's been taken off of the next several shows, house shows, and TVs. And this ain't the first time something like this has been brought up with Riddle. So it's one of those deals, kind of like CM Punk, which we'll get to a little bit later on. But where there's smoke, there's got to be fire. So y'all's thoughts on the potential of Matt Riddle ruining his career by doing some of this stuff? Randy, start with you.
Look, there've been a lot in the press about Matt Riddle just like kind of picking up and leaving his family. He's like, let me go back a little bit. Matt Riddle was here in Chattanooga and won the Scenic City Open after he had left UFC and immediately before he signed with the WWE. And I went to that event and I thought he was the greatest thing ever. The actual accusation is disturbing beyond disturbing.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes in line with the things that's been released about him. His ex-wife has been very vocal about the things he's done. So
Yeah.
I loved Matt Riddle. I thought the whole bro character was just who he was, but it's becoming a little creepy right now. Matter of fact, a lot creepy, and I think it's time for him to go.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. With Randall's final statement. I think it's time. I love the character. I actually loved him and Randy Orton together. I think they got over together, and I thought it was great. Here's the I don't know. Who knows what's true and what's not true nowadays, right? But with social media, with cameras everywhere, with the Twitterverse or the Xverse, whatever they want to call it now, waiting to critique and jump on any little thing. If you're a company like WWE, can you really have that in your locker room? Can you really have that? Uh, I love him, but I think he's got to go. I don't know. Again, I'm gonna back up and probably do another turn on CM Punk as we get into it a little later. But I just nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. We hear that thrown around a lot. Um, I think we're too analytical. I mean, here we are sitting here talking about this stuff, but I mean, I just think if you're running a company, and if I'm running a small team, let's just think about it this way: if I'm coaching a team, and I've got a player that is a constant source of drama, and it's causing distractions, do I really want that player on my team? He better be the best there ever was for me to be able to put up with it. And Riddle, as good as he is, he's not. They can live without him. So I look for him to exit.
But it couldn't come at a worse time with lights went out here. It couldn't come at a worse time because of Endeavor taking over tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and
spotlight's going to already be on Endeavor now. This coming out, it's there. He's backed himself into not just a corner, but a huge corner.
Yeah. And the thing is, when it comes to mergers and things like this, I mean, and I've heard this said as well, is they want everything. Hey, look, we're not going to make any changes. Everybody just chill, hold tight right here. Don't cause any. Don't cause this. Let's just kind of keep everything the way it is. Let's stay low key till this merger is complete. And here you got this. The week of or week before. I don't think it bodes very well for Mr. Riddle. A legit fighter. By the way, in case people didn't know that, legit fighter.
And this is my last thing to say about it. There's a famous promo that I've even ran over here where it said, Terry Funk didn't wear no mouthpiece. Terry Funk and Bruiser Brody never caused trouble in the airports. They were crazy in the airport. They kept their name out of the public eye. Matt Riddle, and I know it's a lot different, and Terry Funk done crazy stuff, but you don't make those claims on your personal Twitter account, and it's just horrible.
Well, I'm sorry, but that just that strikes a chord with me. It aggravates me. If you have legitimate issues with someone, you don't resolve it by tweeting about it.
No.
You go if he was assaulted, he needs to go to the authorities. He needs to follow that process and keep it as low key as possible. But you put that out there, you've invited. Now I'm not saying, hey, look, for anybody that's been a victim, I mean, if you're a victim, you're a victim. But putting it out here for all to see and critique is not helping your cause or not going to help you at all.
No.
So just saying, keep your junk off social media. Randall, Howie, me, anybody else that's listening, don't put your junk on social media.
Hey, I'm not going to take off my shirt on social media ever.
No. If you won't, I won't either.
I think my next question needs to be, how many Red Bulls or how many Monsters have you had tonight, Jeremy?
Only one.
Just one.
And that was right after lunch. This is my natural Charisma, baby. Smart
I
water. Hey, does it work? It didn't work for me. I don't feel any smarter.
I'm still dumb.
All right, we'll move on to the next subject real quick. Had a debut at the All Out pay-per-view for AEW. CJ Perry returns to wrestling TV screen, and I think it's a good fit for Miro. Jeremy, what's your thoughts?
Well, the TV screen looks much better. I will say that if CJ Perry is in the picture, um, I do think this helps Miro. Uh, I do think, please, Tony Khan, you'll never see this, but for the love of God, do something with this man. The character that he came up with, his own, the Redeemer, I love that. Now they've deviated from that a little bit, but I loved it. I don't understand why this guy isn't on now Collision every week, and he's not in the title picture. But CJ Perry, legit talent. I hope they don't ask her to wrestle. Uh, she needs a really skilled, talented partner in there, and I don't know that. Now we've talked about AEW a little bit. I don't know if there's anyone on there that she could have a good match with. But as far as her being there for Hero, I'll take it.
Randy.
Man, is she pretty?
Yeah.
Let me throw you. He said the words manager, which I fully embrace.
Mm-hmm.
Which she can't wrestle. Don't make Hobbs into the new Bobby Lashley and her follow that story.
Oh God, please don't.
But right now, the way it's turning is she's going to end up being Hobbs' manager, and just stick her with Miro, put them in a tank, drive them down to London, let them be the bad boys. Let Miro be Miro. So I'm all for it, and I've been waiting on it because if Miro, if you ever wanted to divorce CJ Perry and needed some husband, I will volunteer. Just telling you, I think she is beyond. I won't even say anything. I just think there's people who make themselves look beautiful, but to me, CJ Perry, who I've seen in person without any makeup, I don't know, that was in Nashville one night and saw him at a restaurant, and she was just beautiful, and Miro was just big, and I was scared, and I was doing.
Yeah, and I don't know how much you guys. I listened to the interview with him and CJ Miro, and you know, Miro and CJ both are people of faith. And in that particular interview, even though a lot of people would look at his character and what he's played with the Redeemer and him wrestling with God as sacrilegious or whatever, he is they shared a lot about how they're, that they're have people of faith, Christian values and stuff. Well, now, you see her posing and stuff. I don't know about that, but all I'm saying is,
when she was young,
huh?
I think some of that happened before.
Yeah, some of that. Yeah, but I like to see. I just like the couple factor for them. Uh, I just think they're good together, and God, I hope they don't do Randall. You spoke what would be my worst nightmare for them if they go that route with Hobbs. I swear I'll never watch AEW again. I that would be the worst because I didn't like that angle with Lashley at all. I didn't think it. I didn't think it was good.
Leave the second marriage out of WWE.
Yeah. No, to me, if I'm married and they want my, no, I'm not. I'm not down with that, under any circumstances. So I don't know. I hope it works out. I think, it makes me wonder. We've saw the introduction, the surprises, which I do like. But after the surprises, they're not really doing a lot with these people. They get that pop. Oh my God, it's CJ Perry. Will we see her again? Will we see her next week? Will there be an angle? I think that's getting old now. I like Tony Khan's pulling all this stuff out. Oh my God, it's Brian Danielson. It's Adam Cole, and all this, and they've turned into players, of course, but there's been a lot of those folks that they've just not done anything with. You got the pop from the appearance, but that was it. Hopefully they'll do something with these two.
I don't know if y'all saw it or not, but she cut a pretty good promo on Collision Friday night. Or excuse me, Saturday.
I didn't get to see it Saturday night, so.
Well, it was a pre-taped, one of those pre-taped interviews, or not interview,
Right.
but promo. But it was CJ cut a pretty good promo, to be honest about it. So
Awesome.
Randy, I'm fixing to compare CJ and Miro with the old, or back in the old days at the NWA, WCW. Who was the married couple? Who was it? Well, I can't think of their name.
DDP and Kimberly?
No. I remember Kimberly's name. Don't
Of course, it's Jimmy Garvin and Precious was married.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
there you go.
That could be the next married couple in wrestling right there.
Yeah. And I think CJ, when she was I think they were good heels. So I think they'd be a great heel couple. And just to me, use a modern term, lean into that heel, because Miro's big, powerful, she's beautiful,
and flexible
gosh.
too.
Huh?
And flexible too.
Yeah, yeah, hot, flexible wife. He said it, so they just kind of went with it. So I thought that was pretty cool when she came out on the Titantron or whatever they call it in AEW. Hot, flexible.
We'll move on from this. Talk about a man that got a promotion and got fired in the same week. Mr. Ace Steel got a promotion that he was going to be over kind of AEW development down in Florida. And then a day or two later, he finds out he's fired. So, Randy, what's your thoughts on this? Ace Steel's been around for a long time, and he'd be a great coach and stuff.
Everybody,
but unfortunately, he's not on the side of the EVPs.
So again, I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to say it. And is it the EVPs, or as everywhere see went, they've been in trouble?
I'll tell you, it's 75% EVPs and it's 25% CM Punk.
But I get it. But where's Colt Cabana? He had to leave AEW. He's went to the WWE supposedly twice, and better job. And Vince McMahon has done business with everyone that's ever left his company except for Randy Savage, who supposedly, look up the rumors, Google the rumors yourself, and CM Punk. Hulk Hogan was on the stand testifying against Vince McMahon, and he brought him back.
Yeah.
Everybody comes back except for Randy Savage and CM Punk.
And not so fast, my friend.
I don't think I haven't come back besides them. Could CM Punk come back? I don't think, unless Vince McMahon is out of control, he will be. This is the guy who put up with Shawn Michaels. So I just Ace Steel and CM Punk was the two fighting with the Elite.
But see, they were going to put Ace Steel in developmental basically and leave him in Florida away from the main action there. But then all of a sudden he gets fired.
So it makes me wonder if he had a hard time dealing with the fact that they did terminate CM Punk, and maybe maybe he said some things already had started that path of being unhappy about it, and they just say, hey, look, you know what, if you can't if you can't recover from that, or if you can't put that aside, then maybe we don't need to do business together. So
Well,
I don't. Go ahead, Randall.
I don't know. I just dysfunction in AEW seems to be running
Yes,
wild. So
yes. I think that's the bottom line, and of course, I blame the Young Bucks, I blame this, that, and everybody's got an opinion. I think what really, for me, I think that when you first start out with anything, everybody's happy. We're building something. We're doing something different, and there's a level of engagement and excitement about it. And then once you achieve whatever it was you set out to achieve, which they have, and now it's in the day to day. Can we keep it going? Can we improve on it and all that? And then you get into that part of existing. I think that's where you start getting egos. You start getting, and that's also where you need structure. That's where you got to have a decent or a very good, or start building a structure that in some cases it does stifle talent. WWE sometimes it stifles their creativity, but I think they really need some structure. I think that the bottom line, we can't, if we won't blame individuals, that's fine. The bottom line, they need a good structure and a chain of command, and they need some rules that are enforced. And I think that's where it's at. I think if they don't fix that, I don't know if they'll make it or not.
well, Jim Cornette has famously said that they need a booker. And if you need a booker and separate business from the booker, you got Jeff Jarrett sitting right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nobody
You
day to day.
they've got right, and they got plenty of people on that staff. They got plenty of talent that are experienced. They got plenty of coaches. And I think that, and I've experienced this in, kind of my career. You run a certain level and you're a family owned company and you got 3,000 people, and I'm using that as an example. And you do business a certain way and you interact a certain way and all that works. And then all of a sudden you grow, and you triple in size or whatever the case may be. Now you got all these other things that brings with it, and you don't have the infrastructure to handle it. And I think that's what's happening to AEW. Tony Khan, you can't do everything, brother. But if you want to be the booker, you need to get somebody to run the business. Uh, that's really what it amounts to. And he loves booking, and I think maybe that's where he needs to focus. But he needs to start hiring. I mean, God, you got Jim Ross there, whose commentary days are numbered, but he still has a lot to offer. He did talent relations. I- If he don't act, if Tony don't act, put in some structure, and to trust people to do certain things, they're going to start struggling mightily.
To me, go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
I agree. I think he said it well.
To me, it seems like that Tony Khan goes home and he's got all these action figures, and he does his own little matches in his bedroom, in his kitchen, or wherever, and that's how he puts the shows together. and he needs to get someone. He needs to take a back seat to some of it and let someone else take control of certain things.
I'm sorry, Howie. That's the best thing it probably will be said tonight. Tony Khan
I mean,
playing with that. I got a visual of Tony Khan in his bedroom playing with action figures and going, "Oh yeah, well, what if we do this?" I love it. But no, you're right though, and that's just a fact of business. I'm sorry. I think Tony is probably he loves wrestling. Obviously, there's no doubt about that, and I think he's fairly creative. I think he's done some good stuff. But I think they need to really start to assemble a staff to run the business of AEW to keep these talents, to deal with those issues. That way Tony don't have CM Punk threatening, and he's not fearing for his life.
I compare it to we're in football season now. I compare it to being a head football coach in the NFL that's trying to be an offensive coordinator, the head
Yes.
general manager, and the ball boy, whatever.
Yeah.
You got to let someone else do something occasionally. And it's
And,
time for Tony to step to the side. And like Randy said, Jeff Jarrett's one of the best that he could put in charge of something.
yeah. And it worked. Hey, it worked up to this point, and there's no doubt about it. They've done some fantastic things. I mean, my goodness, they packed out Wembley Stadium, and that was a great pay-per-view. Uh,
Just said what I was about to say. They drew 80,000 people, and
but if
it's
They drew 60,000 people before they even mentioned the first match.
yeah, without a card,
and they
so that's
to Vince McMahon's Golden Goose and put 27,000 in the U.S. Open Stadium. It's like there's not drawing power and everything is not in place. It's just it's just cleaning it up. I think it's it's outgrew Tony Khan even a little bit.
no,
there's a saying that I like to say every once in a while. He got too big too quick.
Well, I think Rhodes
that's it.
Failed on him, and he's supposed to be the figurehead of this business. Cody Rhodes, let's go back 4 years ago. Cody was the figurehead of AEW, and I think that's what he ran away from a little bit. Because remember, Cody himself had the match with Jericho and said, if I can't win the AEW championship, I'll never wrestle for it. Then when he leaves, he goes, well, I didn't want to be the doorkeeper and not wrestle for the championship. Well, you kind of did that to yourself.
Yeah.
And Dusty did. And if you listen to the story, Cody tells that of Dusty bankrupting himself trying to start Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. I think it was bad business by the Rhodes family. The Rhodes family, and I love them, and I've told y'all on here what happened. The Rhodes family are notoriously bad businessmen. Dusty booked Carolina, great booker.
Yes.
Businessman.
I mean, a lot of people blame Dusty, along with David Crockett, or Jim Crockett, sorry, for being the end of Crockett Promotions. That Jim Jr. was under the influence of Dusty to the point that's what happened.
I believe so.
So I agree with Randall. I think Cody's a better businessman than maybe his father and everything.
Businessman, but he didn't like it after he had it.
Yeah, and I think that you're right. I think that maybe left Tony rudderless because I don't think. Look, I'm just going to say it again. I don't think Young Bucks. I don't think they're EVPs. They might be. They might be capable of it, but they're not functioning as an EVP correctly. I'll put it that way. So you got to have somebody. Somebody's got to quit being immature. Somebody's got caught, and I'm talking about Tony Khan too. Somebody's got to say, hey, we got to keep that our end goal here. Same thing with CM Punk. I love CM Punk. I think he was a draw. But look, where he went wrong is when this blow up happened last year. The thing for Tony Khan to do would be like, look, and I'm talking about Cornette mentioned it. Goozle somebody. Could you imagine Tony Khan goozling CM Punk? But what I'm saying is he needs to send a message say, look, you got issues. The post match is not when to do it. You're threatening you're threatening my company by doing this type of stuff. You're not gonna do that. And really, he probably should have sent him packing last year just over that. And I'm in complete agreement with that. However, CM Punk, man, drawing money.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out, because on the first collision where Tony Khan comes out and announced that he let CM Punk go, they lost 80,000 viewers after the segment there.
Yeah, they what finished with less than half of their normal audience on Saturday night. And I know college football started. There's no number of things that were going to affect it anyway. So I don't think you read too much into that, but it did matter.
This past Saturday night should let us know when those numbers come out, because the first night that CM Punk was let go of, there was a Payback pay-per-view on with WWE.
Yes.
So, and I was watching it instead of watching Collision.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, football was on. There's some good games as well. So that's going to be my question to y'all. Do you think that their numbers dropped because of Punk being gone, or because of what on TV that night? Randy?
On Saturday night's the dumbest thing ever during football season. Whoever made that decision was dumb.
That's a tough night. Off-season football, maybe, but that's when college football starts. I mean, tell me who wasn't watching Alabama and Texas, or Auburn late, Auburn and Cal, or especially in the Southeast.
And when the WCW grew up with the TBS 605, there were maybe 4 games on a day.
Right.
So it's not the same.
You know, this right here made a good point a while ago, and I don't say that very often, but he made, fact of it was, so many more channels, so much apps and all this stuff. They're talking about the wrestling numbers being down. It's just numbers are down for everything right now, because there's so many different shows you can watch. But the main thing, like Randy said, whoever decided to do this on a Saturday night was crazy, because, in my opinion, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights are the worst nights for TV.
I think put it on earlier on Sunday or Saturday, it would be better. But there's so much, there's a gap in there. I call it the Democrat gap between the 3:30 game and the 7 o'clock game, that you might could wedge some programming in there, but not 8, 9 o'clock on Saturday. That's dumb.
Well,
that's the reason the Pac-10 is done, because they kept trying to put their product on at 1 o'clock in the morning on those time. I mean, you got to be in that 12 to 8 range to hit on college football. So,
well,
I say I've been at 2 of the worst college football games in history the last 2 weeks, but I'd rather been there than home watching Collision. And I mean, bad. They sucked.
Right. Well, here's the difference, though. To me, it's a different world than it was back in those days. 605 WCW. What they have Saturday something. Shotgun Saturday night or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but the thing is that people, ratings are important, I guess, to the networks, but people watch it after. I don't. I hardly ever watch things live. I'll go back and stream it. I'll go back and watch Collision, or I'll go back and watch. You know, so I don't know. Those ratings don't really reflect that. I don't think the way they're constructed. So you know, I know that for the network, if the net and at the end of the day, if the network's happy with the numbers, I
Yeah.
mean, it wouldn't matter what wrestling fan A, B, or C thinks. Well, the ratings or what Dave Meltzer says or whatever. If the network is happy and they go, hey, this is feeling a good, good, decent viewership for this time slot. It's better than what we've had in the past, or it's better than, the thousandth replay of the Avengers, or whatever the case may be. Uh, This new programming, I don't know. I don't put a lot into that. Uh, I think it's more football related. To answer your question, Howie, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I think it's more football related. The drop off. I don't think it's just CM Punk.
Well, it was just after that first 15 minutes. They lost 80,000 viewers after
Yeah,
Punk was gone. I wasn't talking about just overall. I'm just talking about
yeah.
your
Well,
view.
here's what's gonna happen. Knee jerk reaction. Well, dadgummit, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. I can't believe they're gonna wish they hadn't have done that. Well, guess what? They're gonna come back and watch the next week because they're gonna see what they're gonna do to replace it. And it's just like and I'm not trying to get political here, but all these people that went crazy and said, dadgummit, I'll never drink another Bud Light again. I'll never do this, that, or the other. And guess what? There's a lot of people, Kid Rock, by the way. And guess what? After a few weeks and it cools off, guess what? People are going to go back to drinking what they were drinking. It's the same thing with AEW. They're going to get mad. They're not going to watch it for a week or two, and they're going to go, well, I wonder what's going on. They're going to come back.
All right, here we go. The last segment here is our main topic. The Jungle Boy or Jack Perry, whatever you want to call him, Jack Perry, CM Punk deal. For the ones, a quick recap that missed it. Several weeks ago, Jack Perry wanted to use real glass. CM Punk talked him out of it, and so he didn't do it. And then on the All-In 0 hour, they bring out a car and he puts a hook through the windshield, which is real glass. And before he does it, I kind of skipped ahead. Before he did it, he tapped the windshield saying, "This is real glass. Cry me a river." Does a deed with a hook, and then all of a sudden, CM Punk finds out about it, knows about it because he's the next match. They got to walk past each other, and it kind of escalates real quick. And now we got Jungle Boy or Jack Perry that is suspended, and CM Punk that was fired. Jeremy, go ahead and get us kicked off.
Fire him. He needs fired too. Here's the thing. I think Punk. I think he was a big draw. I loved the match with Joe, but both parties are to blame. You're doing something historic for a 5-year-old company or less, and you can't table your ego long enough to do the job, do the work that you're asked to do. Do it to the best of your ability, entertain the fans, put on a good show, and then you work that out later. It's immature. Jack Perry, who I was growing on me a little bit with the heel character, he claimed he's trying to get heel heat. He's going into business for himself on that. It's inexcusable. Send him home. Let him think about it. Let him try to grow up a little bit. He should have got choked out, in my opinion. And then the other thing, I will say this: who knows what's true and not true because we hear what other people say. and they hear what other people say. So, but from what I understand, Punk was asked to talk to Jack Perry about the glass deal and tell him it's not a good idea. So my question is who nominated CM Punk to go talk to Jack Perry and why? Again, there's that lack of structure. And Randall, I think you agree with me on this. It's just like it with every young person today. There's a sense of entitlement because they've not had to struggle for anything, and they have trouble with any kind of authority or any kind of guidance coming from an older, more experienced, seasoned person. They think they know better. That's an issue. So I really have I think he needs fired. I don't think he was that great anyway. Now I think he could have been, and he was on his way. But when you do something like that, look, go home, think about it, try to mature a little bit, come back when you can be an adult and you can function. Uh, it just makes me mad. If I were Tony Khan, I'd be mad. I'd have fired them both on the spot because here we are in the middle of the greatest event in I mean, could it be considered one of the greatest events in the history of wrestling?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, and y'all were in a pissing contest, for lack of a better word. Grow up, and I don't know. I could go on and on, but God, why can't you put your ego aside? Soak in this moment. You're not going, Jungle Boy. You're not going to get the chance. How often are you going to get the chance to go out in front of 80,000 people?
Randy, before you start, let me ask you a quick question, Randy. If this was 25 years ago, Jack Perry does this after, let's say, the Undertaker tells him not to do it, but he does it anyway. What happens to Jack Perry when he gets to the back?
So I'll tell you the story that the Undertaker told himself when Shawn Michaels was about to go in business for himself, and the Undertaker taped both fists and come set in gorilla until Shawn Michaels gave the title over to Bret Hart. I would have, and I agree with you, Howie, and I agree with you. I would have a hard time subterfusion to CM Punk.
Yeah.
I would come closer myself, and I know how I think. I would come closer following somebody like Trent Beretta, who is just a worker, not a star. Yeah. I would love to know what Tony Khan's and CM Punk's deal was, because something about that return, I feel like he was putting on equal foot as the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Now, here was the deal that's been reported in a few sites is the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and the Elite said, okay, bring him back. 6 months. We're not working with him. We're not dealing with him. If he is still performing at the level, if he has 6 months of no issues, then we're going to go work with CM Punk. So the $1 million question to me is very simply this.
Yeah.
Was it a setup or did CM lose his crap? Who said talk to Jungle Boy?
Yeah. Hey, so let me ask you a question, Randall. Because here's what I think this. I think do you think CM Punk is extremely abrasive person in general?
I think CM Punk is very close to the CM Punk we see that does his best work in the interview ring. I feel like CM Punk, the guy who sat cross-legged on the stage in the WWE,
it's more like him.
Pipe bomb is Phillip Brooks, and that is
right, so let me ask you another question then. Why? Because we all know and I'm gonna use the term feedback. Somebody comes to try to give us some feedback or give us some guidance. When do we receive that type of feedback or guidance the most? When it comes from somebody and they have the right approach
Yes.
and they have the right relationship
Timing.
and the timing of it. Yeah.
Look, I don't know who's on whose side, but from reports that I've read and all that, and I do read occasionally, not very often. But the ones that were on CM Punk's side were the Samoa Joes, the Miros, the FTRs, the ones that were old school type wrestlers that wanted to do it the right way. And then the ones that were on the EVP side are these ones that Tony Khan's got action figures of that he's wrestling with, and they're jumping off of his bed to the floor and pinning. So
Come on, Howie.
I'm sorry, but this is the way I see Tony Khan. Go ahead, Randy.
There is no AEW. AEW wouldn't build with Miro and CM Punk.
Right.
True.
Those guys that we're kind of down in, and I don't mean that disrespectful to y'all or them.
No.
They built AEW. It was Chris Jericho and a bunch of no names diving off ropes. Now I could see someone that was there having some resentment of CM Punk getting $8 million.
Yeah.
FTR getting multi-million-dollars. Miro getting multi-million-dollars. If I was Trent Beretta, I brought him up twice, or Chuck Taylor, and I made $200,000, and I'd been on every pay-per-view, and I'd been on every show for 5 years, and CM Punk walks in and get $8 million, I got resentment.
Yeah, you can't help it. You can't help it. But here's what I'm going to say. A good example. How many of you have y'all ate a McDonald's hamburger at any time?
Look, I weigh 300 pounds.
Yeah, we all
240 pounds. So
all right. So if you know anything, and I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but it's to me it matters here. So the McDonald brothers had their own restaurant. They tried to create a franchise and a chain, and they failed. But a man named Ray Kroc came along who had more capabilities as a leader and as a visionary, and he took what they did and made it what it is today. And that's what I'm saying right here. Yes, they built a company. Yes, they have done some. I don't think Tony Khan. I don't think Nick or Matt Jackson or Kenny Omega. I don't think they have the capabilities to raise this company to the next level. I think the smart man is Tony Khan's money. If Tony Khan's smart, he goes, I got to find somebody who knows how to market, knows the business. I got to find somebody to handle this talent. I want to stay playing wrestling figures in my bedroom every night to to do. I love it. I think it's the best. I love it. That's fun. But I really believe that, and that's not being critical of them. That's not being critical of them. I mean, I've been critical of them in the past, but not right here. I think people's level. There's a thing in that this is taught in leadership. It's the law of the lid. You can only go so far, and you're either going to have to really strain to expand your ability, or otherwise you got to find somebody that can go beyond that lid. Otherwise, you got a cap on where you're going to go, and I think that's where they're at.
I got a question for both of you. Simple yes or no questions. Question: If Cody Rhodes is still at AEW, does this happen? Randy?
Yes.
Jeremy?
I'm gonna have to agree. Yes. Yeah.
So you kind of made my point by me announcing this. Now let me go back and fix what I just said. Yes, I want AEW to be this. I don't want AEW to be John Moxley. I don't want
No.
to be Miro. I don't want AEW to be Claudio Castanera. I want the AEW to be what I wanted it to be. I liked All In version 1 wrestling better than I did All In version 5. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want AEW to be WWE, then we're probably headed. We're trying to make it into WWE. That's my point.
Yes. Good. Good. No. Great point, Randall.
Organizations fail after their greatest success.
Yeah.
World class after the Von Erich Freebirds. TNA on the verge of competing where AEW is now failed. World Championship Wrestling after the NWO failed. I think the success, wrestling people are not good freaking businessmen. Paul Heyman, ECW, failed.
No.
You
That's
know,
right.
Jim Cornette was smart in that he said, I'm going to spend X number of dollars and I'm done. Jerry Jarrett,
Yes.
great businessman, said, okay, I got 250. Jim Cornette tells a story where Jerry Jarrett said, I have $250,000 left in my wrestling company. Once that's gone, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. And Jerry Jarrett's a multi-millionaire.
Yeah. He was.
They can't bankrupt the Khan family. They can't.
No.
There's
No.
no. That's the bad
No.
thing. Is Tony Khan has more money than a TV pre. I just wished we would decide whether it's WWE Light, ECW, or AEW. And I much preferred Joey Janela as the John Moxley character than John Moxley as the John Moxley character. Because if you think about it, Joey Janela goes away, John Moxley appears.
Yeah.
The insane hardcore wrestler.
Yeah.
You know, I think the death of Brody Lee,
Mm.
even more than Cody Lee and leaving, because I felt like Brody Lee was the Undertaker of that locker room. And
Hmm.
that void has been felt, I feel like, till this day.
So.
Big shoes to fill. You got Cody
Yeah.
Rhodes and Brody Lee gone
Yeah.
within a year or two of that company.
Yeah.
And
So
it's just
go
not,
ahead. No.
it's not the same for me. I don't enjoy it as much as I used to.
Yeah. So that, and I'm the same way, Randall, to a certain extent. I still enjoy it.
I do.
Uh, and I think you made a good point. I talked about, raising company to another level. So I think they got to ask themselves sometimes. I mean, well, no, it's okay if you're Pepsi.
Yes.
If you're making money and you're being profitable and you're working on your product and trying to get better every day, hey, you know what? That's perfectly okay.
I
It's
like
okay if you're it's
I,
okay if your Impact, who has a very good product, are they WWE? No. And I think, you know, us as wrestling fans, maybe we're the ones that made it that way. But if I'm Tony Khan and if I'm AEW, my goal, look, you're not going to touch WWE.
no.
No, especially now. No, you're not going to touch it. So it's a difference. Here's the difference. So I work for a publicly traded company for about 20 years of my career. Publicly traded on the stock market. Everything was about the projections for each quarter, profit. So everything we did was about meeting a goal that we had put out there because we had to we had to project to the stockholders we're going to earn this much, right? So if we didn't make that earnings goal, then we're failures. But now I work for it's still a family-owned company, and they don't have to project. Yeah, they probably project, hey, we won't shoot for these goals. I think that's good. But they look at it and they invest a ton of money in our company, back into our company. And if they're making money and they're all getting paid, then they're all good.
Yep.
It's a different mentality. And so, maybe we need to stop trying to say, hey, they're trying to get to be WWE. They're a good company. They put a good product. All three of us are entertained by it. Uh, you know, so yeah, it depends on what your end goal is. I think the downfall of WCW was Eric Bischoff's intent on trying to put Vince McMahon out of business. If they'd have just focused on what we do, we don't even care about the competitor. We got time slots here, here, and here. We got a heck of a lot of talent. Let's put the best show on we can.
Yep. Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, guys.
No, it's all good. Yeah, it's just it's one of those things that I'm like Randy. I still enjoy it, but the excitement's not there like it was when it first came out.
Yeah.
It's the fact of, for me, it's getting too predictable.
It is.
Week in and week out, that John Moxley is going to come out and he's going to bleed. Except for this past week, and he didn't.
He's bleeding when he comes out of the locker room.
Yeah. You're going to have Orange Cassidy out there start the show on Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
John Moxley's going to come out from, as Jim Cornette says, Moxley coming out from the parking lot out there because he can't dress in the locker room, so he got to come through the crowd at 9:30, 8:30, whatever time. Right before the main event, you're going to have the women coming out there, have their one match. You're always going to have a Tony Schiavone interview for. They're not mixing it up like they were when they first started. It's kind of like getting in a rut, and it's predictable. You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think that's back to what we said earlier, Howie, is that if you're Tony, you got a wealth of knowledge and experience there you got Paul White, you got Chris Jericho, you've got Tony Schiavone, you got Jim Ross, you got, I think, Al Snow. Is it Al Snow back there in the locker room? Isn't he a coach? You got Arn Anderson. I think that's where you start leaning on those guys a little bit, because I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but the problem is he actually going to listen to them guys, or is he going to listen to the ones that's been there since day one?
Yeah, I think you listen to guys that have a track record.
To the EVPs, I think he's paying them a check.
Yeah,
they're founder royalty, and I don't think Kenny Omega's booking the women's division anymore. I don't think the booking tag team wrestling no more. I really think that I would love to. I'd love to hear Cody Rhodes explain why he left, and that will answer.
Yeah. So
I can picture real quick. Them sitting in a boardroom, Tony Khan at the end of this big old long table. You got Cody, Kenny Omega, Matt, and Nick Jackson there. And somebody brings something up and they have a vote on it. Well, guess who's going to be out? Who's going to get voted against every time? Cody Rhodes. Because Matt and Nick's not going to vote against each other. Omega's going to have to go with Matt and Nick. So who knows what we could have missed out on with Cody with some of his ideas, because they didn't want to do it or hear it.
Yeah, and credit to, look, with all that being said, credit to Cody. He could have probably come out and went ahead and stated his reason for leaving, but he's not doing that. And that's honorable for Cody, which in some ways I'm sure he would want to justify his leaving. and be able to say, hey, I didn't have I got outvoted every time or whatever. So credit to Cody.
So Tony Khan, if you actually ever should happen to listen to this, change rooms in your house. Maybe that'll give you new ideas to how to book something.
Buy some new figures.
Hey,
I used to have a Greg the Hammer Valentine and a Hulk Hogan. Please don't bring Hulk Hogan back.
challenge for y'all. I have a challenge for you both. I'm going to show you something. We're not going to discuss this until next week. I'm going to go ahead and let you look at it. We're going to discuss
Yes.
this man's career next week, I say.
Yes. I say, Howie, what say you?
I have no idea who that is, so y'all hammer down.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that in and of itself is the reason we need to talk about it, because to me, what's going on right now with him is one of the bigger things in wrestling. I'll say that, Howie.
That is Oing Ching Bong.
Bless you.
His real name is Walter Hand, aka
Yeah, Gunther.
the WWE.
Yes,
Let me say that again.
I saw that the other day. I was amazed.
I
When you look
That's
when
good.
that's Gunther. Yeah, when you look at that picture, now I thought the transformation over the last 3 years was significant enough, but when you look at that picture and then you see where he is now, hmm.
They got to put a world title on him at some point. But anyway,
Oh God, yeah,
we'll talk about it later. But I saw that picture and read the story to it, and I was like,
yeah,
and I'm not a WWE fan, but I am a. And Walter's one of those guys that wrestled with the Briscoes and the
yeah.
Bucks and Kenny Omega, and he was trained by Tomohiro Ishii. So
Wow.
he's the guy that came out of that same scene. So
Hey,
anyway,
so
I'd like to
so
talk
by the
a few weeks about Walter.
yeah, and it's off topic here because I know how he's kind of guiding, steering the ship here. But the matches with Chad Gable that Gunther has over the past couple weeks. I hate that Chad Gable character. That kid can go, and he's got a great physique. He's a great athlete, and those matches, that one last week and the one before, they're really good, man.
That's
Super
what I was
good.
thinking to ask. I was going to ask if y'all saw those or not, because I know Randy
Yeah,
all very often.
I
yeah,
I have watched the Walter matches.
yeah. So look, and last week having his kids and his family in the stand in the right there, but I mean that's good TV, dude. That gets me invested in wrestling. Gable, if he's just stopped that shush stuff, I'm tired of it. And just he's super good, man.
You're just tired of it because you like talking all the time. You don't want nobody to tell you to hush.
Shush.
All right, let's wrap it up tonight, guys. Any last thoughts on anything we've talked about tonight, Jeremy?
What a snack!
Hey, look, man. I mean, and we sound like we're belly aching or critiquing of this and that. Man, if you're a wrestling fan, and I've said this before, but man, if you're a wrestling fan, this is fantastic. I mean, you got all the wrestling content that and it's good. AEW, look, it's still good. It's getting old, but there's somebody that turns it on for the first time. They're probably going. There's a lot of people going to like it. And WWE's on fire. And I've said this before. Impact. I don't watch much of it, but dang, they got a good talent roster and good wrestling. I mean, so you got all you can handle if you're a wrestling fan right now.
Hey,
In addition to great podcasts.
question to ask: if Jungle Boy gets fired, does Anna Jay got to go with him?
No.
Oh, never mind what I said. don't fire Jungle Boy if Anna Jay has to go.
Take us home, Howie Cheney.
Hey, the new tag team women's champion is going to be Anna Jay and CJ Perry.
I'll just sit here and watch wrestling all day.
Roll Tide on that, buddy.
Hey, I compare wrestling. People can make fun of us all they want to, but it's the same thing as far as people going and watching movies, getting invested in them, watching
Yep.
TV shows week in and week out.
Yep.
It's the same stuff, and
It is.
I enjoy it. I enjoy getting together with y'all guys talking about something, and it takes your mind off of stuff, especially like after today, 9/11, 22 year mark, 23 year mark happened, and it's just gets me away from reality, I guess you can say. Get me away from reality for a little while and enjoying this and seeing Jeremy's eyes light up when I mentioned Sky Blue and seeing he's slow out of his mouth when Anna Jay's name is mentioned, and
Hey, I got to be careful. I'll get in trouble here, but hey, so look, on a serious note, you mentioned 9/11. So I want to, with all the things that go on with companies and they're trying to look like they care and they make statements and stuff. WWE even tonight had a little tribute and a memorial for 9/11. And we can criticize Vince McMahon and all that, but one thing that we can't criticize him for is maybe trying to be politically correct, like a lot of companies, and what they did that week and what they've done, doing tribute to the troops, doing all the things they do. Uh, it's nice to see a company of that level still do things like that.
As far as I know, y'all can correct me, but every time there's a holiday on a night of Raw or SmackDown, they acknowledge it.
Yep.
Regardless.
Yep.
Howie, before we leave, don't we got to hit this?
Yes.
Yeah, Wilburn's Waxing Solutions. For all your waxing needs, floor-wise, give them a call at 256-996-9731. Call for free estimates and licensed and insured. And Randy has mentioned several times that it's always good to have somebody that's licensed and insured to come by and work on stuff for you. So give them a call, Wilbur's Waxing Solution, 256-996-9731. Tell him we sent you, and he'll probably ask you who you're talking about. So tell him anyway. So
I love it. Hey, look, there's still summertime left if you need to get rid of some of that, but never mind. Never mind. I won't do that. I won't go Jim Cornette on us here.
Yeah. All right. Join us next time when you might hear Jeremy say,
"Woo!"
For Randy, for Jeremy, I'm Howie. It's still real to me. Good night and God bless.
Night, Podfather.